I'm feeling emotional today, so to shore myself up, I put on my favorite reading t-shirt. So if you can't read it, it says, "Never underestimate an old lady who reads many books and is born in August." It's also green, which is the birthstone of the peridot, and it has tea, which is my favorite drink. So let's get down to being emotional. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome and thanks for stopping by. I'm Marilyn, and I love to read and talk about books, and I love to be vulnerable. Well, I don't know if I love to be vulnerable, but I am a type of person who shows my emotions, and that's sometimes popular on booktube and sometimes it's not. And I'm feeling very emotional today about Maya Angelou and about other things. I want to thank the community who have done my tag, the Phenomenal Woman book tag, who have been so kind to me, wishing me so many good wishes, and also just talking about phenomenal woman authors, because that's what I wanted to do. Why am I feeling especially emotional today? It's because I did not realize when I started rereading Gathered Together in My Name that I would have such a different reaction that I had the first time when I was in maybe my 30s. And I've been reading it in the collected autobiographies of Maya Angelou. I don't know if anyone else has the experience that when they really want to read a book closely, they need to read the print version. But because we've had a little hurricane here that passed by named Hone, I'm in a lot of pain. Let's put it that way, because I get flare-ups from my chronic illness when there's a change in the weather, especially a tropical storm. So reading this has not been easy, but yet I wanted to read it to make sure that every word that Maya Angelou imparts in this book, and there's so many wise and beautiful and poetic parts of it that I needed to just get the most out of it. And it's been a wonderful experience. I even wrote down a few quotes. The whole book is like, it's like a poem. It's like her story instead of history of being black in the American South and after the war, of being a black woman who refused to be put down, and because of her parents who were supportive in some ways. You have to read the book. But these were just a few quotes that I wanted to show you that touched me personally. And one is, "The naturally lonely person does not look for comfort in love, but accepts the variables as due course." And I thought, wow, that is so deep. I have to really think about that. And another one is, she was always moving around in this book, and I found it hard to think of leaving my books. They had been my elevators out of the midden, and to whom could I entrust such close friends? And another one that this really is a history of after the war, being a black woman at the end of the war and not having money or education. "Thus we lived through a major war. The questions in the ghettos was, can we make it through a minor peace?" Oh, that got me. But what really made me emotional, and I'm going to try to link, I'm not very good at techno things, but thankfully, if anybody thinks I do all this on my own, I do not. I have a partner who is a technological wizard, And he helps me with editing and thumbnails and all that kind of stuff. But I will try to have him put down the video of Maya Angelou reciting her own poem, Phenomenal Woman, because it made me cry. It made me cry with happiness. Her essence. And I think I said in another video that I was fortunate enough to see her speak and also speak to her for about 5 minutes during a very difficult time of my life. And she was always the most gracious person. You can see that through everything that she's done. And she stopped, even though she might have been in a hurry, to help me out for that moment. But I did not know what a thrill, what a presence that she had when she recited her poem. I really will encourage everyone to watch her reciting that poem, and I'm going to put that down below in the description box. However, this video is not about Gathered Together in My Name, which I plan to reread as soon as I finish it. I have like 3 pages left, and I tend to go backwards when I'm really into a story, and I've been trying not to finish it because I know I want to start it again. I want to reread it. But this video is about, did I forget something when I did my tag? Someone mentioned to me, did you really fully do your tag? And I said, I only talked about one book. So today it's Tag Tuesday, hopefully when you see this. So I'm going to do my own tag. And it's the Phenomenal Woman Maya Angelou book tag. And there was only 3 questions and to tag people. So I should have been able to get that right. But I was very nervous when I was doing telling you about my first original book tag. And since it was my birthday too, it took me a few days to really get into it. So let me start with the questions, and I have a lot of books to show you. So, number 1, who is your favorite phenomenal woman author? I did answer this question, and I said it was Betty Smith, which is true. She is one of my favorite phenomenal women authors, but I have others that I wanted to show you. And of course I showed you A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, and this is the 75th anniversary edition that I want to read this way in print. But there's also other phenomenal women authors and another one. So how do I know which book is written by a phenomenal woman author for me? And that is if I have all of their books or mostly all of their books. So who fits that qualification? Well, it's no other, there's a few, but there's no other than Barbara Pym. And I have her whole collection. It's not all here. Wait, one is missing. But I have a few others because she wrote more than these books. And why is she a phenomenal woman author? A lot of people, critics, have compared her to Jane Austen. And there is a similarity. There's the wit of Jane Austen. And also I want to say that Jane Austen is another one of my phenomenal woman authors that I feel is a phenomenal woman author. And Barbara Pym has a little bit, a lot maybe, of that wit and good writing and propulsiveness, and also tells you a lot about the time that she lived. And of course everyone knows Excellent Women. It's not really my favorite of hers. I think my favorite of hers, though it keeps on changing just like Jane Austen's books, is Quartet in Autumn, because it's written about a quartet of people who are in the autumn of their life or older. By the way, I love these covers. These covers are so gorgeous, and they're plume penguin books, and I'm so happy that I have them, that I bought them. The last book I read, I really loved, and it's The Sweet Dove Died. And I don't know if it's the last one she wrote, but this one really affected me a lot. So, and there is a gay character in the book. So as the times got a little bit, well, she wrote autobiographical fiction in some ways. And in The Sweet Dove Died, there was characters in all of her books that she knew in real life. And there's a gay character in this book, and she had been in love with, I don't know if it's one gay character or more in her real life, in her life. And this was written in 1978. And I think it was written a year before she died, but she really loved this book. So if you haven't read Barbara Pym, please do. So those are more than enough phenomenal women authors. I also have to say Agatha Christie, because we're not talking about, I'm talking about a whole body of work that she has done. That I love mysteries, and I own a lot of Agatha Christie. I'm not going to say I own every Agatha Christie, but I own a lot of Agatha Christie. But I'm going to talk about just two books today, and one is special to me. It's not a beautiful cover. Maybe I will get a better cover, but I buddy read this with another person who sadly passed away, Janelle of Too Fond of Books, who loved Agatha Christie as much as I do. And there's a lot of people, a lot of creators on booktubes who love Agatha Christie. And this one is not one of her very popular books. It has it's a Hercule Poirot mystery. It's called Taken at the Flood. And it had another title, There Is a Tide. And this will always be special to me because Janelle had not read it. She loved it. I loved it. I loved that we were reading it together, and I have that memory. So let me just tell you a little about it. Wormsley Vale, to all appearances, it was just another sleepy English village shaken up by a series of bizarre coincidences, or were they cunningly deliberate crimes? A young bride, just 2 weeks a widow, was made sole heir to an enormous fortune. A mysterious stranger met a brutal end, and the dapper detective, Hercule Poirot, found himself on a trail as baffling as he had ever encountered. So if you love Agatha Christie, I really recommend that you read this book. The other Agatha Christie book that I read recently is Why Didn't They Ask Evans, also published as The Boomerang Clue. And this is not a very pretty cover, but I plan to buy this in another edition. So I think they made a movie out of this. So it started when a false step from a misty footpath sent a mysterious stranger plummeting to his death. How was Bobby Jones to know that witnessing the dying man's last words, Why Didn't They Ask Evans, would send him on a death-defying chase? Bobby and his unlikely partner in detection, Lady Frances Derwent, end up in pursuit of a hauntingly beautiful woman and a cunning killer who is out to do them in. I really enjoyed this book. It's not one of her famous books, but I really enjoyed all of Agatha Christie's books. But let me get on to the next question. And the next question is, what book features your favorite phenomenal woman character? And I did answer this question with the same book of Betty Smith, which was A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, and I loved Francie. But I also loved Annie McGarry in Joy in the Morning. This is not one of her very popular books, but I read this when I was a teenage bride, which was very, and she was a teenage bride. And I'm pretty sure that Betty Smith might have been a teenage bride. And I just love this book. I don't like this particular cover. The cover that I originally read this book was a better cover. I don't think this illustrates what the book is about young love. And it comes from Psalm 30.5. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. If you haven't read this book, she's a wonderful character, Annie McGarry. So let me tell you a little bit about it. In 1927 in Brooklyn, New York, where most of Betty Smith's books, because they were autobiographical books, take place, or start at least, meet and fall in love. Though only 18, Annie travels alone halfway across the country to the Midwestern University where Carl is studying law. But there they marry. But their first year together is much more difficult than they had anticipated, in a faraway place with little money and few friends. With hardship and poverty weighing heavily upon them, Annie and Carl come to realize that their greatest source of strength, loyalty, and love will help them make it through. And I think if you like romance, novels, that you might take to this book more than her others. But all of her books have an element, I think, of romance, except maybe A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. So the New York Times said about this heroine, Annie McGarry, a more dauntless heroine or a more appealing one has not turned up in a current novel in years. So I guess I'm in sync with the New York Times. And, this book was written in the 70s, I'm pretty sure. Now, I got married, let me see, it says 63. Okay, so I can see why. I got married in 67 as a teenage bride. So, yeah, I remember really getting a lot out of this book. Just love it. I just love this character. Now, I never mentioned Agatha Christie's characters. There's so many and they're so diverse that I couldn't, a lot of people would say Hercule Poirot, right, is the greatest character. But I don't feel that way. I feel when I can get in touch closely with a character, like in Gathered Together in My Name, or anything that Maya Angelou wrote, only because her experiences were very different than mine, yet I feel that I can relate to the feelings, to the dumb mistakes that one makes, like in Gathered Together in My Name, where she was very young and got pregnant and was trying to find her way in the world at that time, which is right after she was born in 28. So it had to be like between 47 and 49 that the setting of Gathered Together in My Name. And it was, as she says in the beginning, it was a time. Okay, so my number 3 was, if you were creating a book prize, which book by a phenomenal woman author would you choose? Like everyone said who did the tag, there's so many. There's so many. But I'm going to pick one, and that would be a translated fiction, a Norwegian translated fiction. I would give the prize to Cora Sandel, a phenomenal woman who wrote the Alberta series. I don't have the third. I do have the third one, but I couldn't grab it at this moment, or it's getting dark in Hawaii. So this one, the first one is Alberta and Jacob, where she's very young. And this is also a trilogy that is autobiographical, but it takes place in Norway, and the second one is Alberta and Freedom, takes place, as you can see, in France. And I think this might have been my favorite of all of the books. And the last one is Alberta Alone, which I love too. And I read 2 of these with Lindy from Lindy's Magpie Reads. And I love this trilogy so much. And I think, I don't know if it won a prize. It wasn't translated into English until I think the 70s. It was translated by Elizabeth Roken. And I'm going to try if I find the translation. And published in Great Britain by Peter Owen in 1963. And I'm trying to think when the book came out, when she wrote it, actually. And it says here that I read, this is from the foreword, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but it says this person, and I will tell you the person who wrote the foreword. Tracy Chevalier wrote the foreword. And she's saying, or he, that it had been our loss to ignore her so long, because Sandel's work had been slow to come to light outside of Scandinavia. So she wrote the trilogy Alberta and Jacob, 1926, Alberta and Freedom, 1931, and Alberta Alone, 1939. So she's Cora Sandel is a pseudonym for Sarah Fabricus, who grew up in Norway, first in Oslo and then in the far north in Tromsø. As a young woman, she moved to Paris, studied painting, and married a Swedish painter with whom she had a son. So why do I think this deserves a prize? Because it's so real. And her growing up in the first one, and her brother Jacob, who's really not much featured actually in the book, Alberta and Jacob, but she had a difficult childhood, and Jacob, her brother, was the only one while she was growing up that she really could rely on. So Cora Sandel is who I pick for my book prize. Should it be the Phenomenal Woman Translated Fiction Book Prize? Oh, there's so many. Wonderful. I'm just getting into translated fiction, so I'm finding out more and more how much I love it, and how much is out there that I need to keep on reading. The last one was tagged Some Phenomenal Woman Booktubers. And I already tagged a lot of booktubers who tagged other people, which makes me so happy. I'm so grateful that this tag, my first one and maybe my last one, because that's a lot of work, has done so well. So I thank everyone who has done the tag. And if you want to do the tag, please do it. I'm so excited. I'm trying so hard to keep up with everyone who is doing the tag, so I can get new people who are phenomenal women. And please, if you get a chance, like I said, do watch the video. And if it doesn't, if you can't get it, it's just a video where Maya Angelou is reciting her poem Phenomenal Woman, and she must have been maybe in her 40s when she wrote the poem. I'm still reading a lot of her poetry out of another big book like this one, but luckily a subscriber, a good friend of mine, has sent it to me in Kindle form, which makes it really easier. So I have a week left for my Phenomenal Woman readathon, and I plan to do a few other things this week, and then settle down into a more doable for me schedule. But yeah, like I really appreciate all the birthday wishes too. And someone said, I said that I was getting a makeover, so I don't think it's a makeover. I meant maintenance, where I got a mani-pedi. And do I look different? I don't know. Maybe I do. But to all the phenomenal people, and that goes to men out there, phenomenal men. I wish you would do the tag as well. And thank you so much for watching this longish video. Let me know, are any of these people are phenomenal to you? Do the tag if you will, if you want to, but don't feel that you have to do the tag. But I've enjoyed watching everyone's video and meeting new people, meeting new booktubers, new and some have been around for a while. But it's hard because sometimes the algorithm doesn't give you the people that might be suited to your type of reading, or there's just not enough time in the day, I guess, to look at every booktuber. But I've made some wonderful friends, and I'm so glad that I'm here for 74 years, because it is a privilege. I had the experience of a family member who was born a day after me and passed away on my birthday. I did not know this family member. You go on Facebook. I go on Facebook mainly to catch up with people I know in real life, family members who live far away, but I'm not really a Facebook person. And on my birthday, I was getting a lot of Facebook messages wishing me happy birthday, and then this message of a distant, not that distant relative, but I don't know her. Her mother had passed away, exactly my age, born one day after me, passed away on my birthday. It made me realize that living to a certain age, any age, is a privilege, and I'm glad to be here. I'm glad I found BookTube. I'm glad I've met all the wonderful people that I've met, and I hope to be here as long as I can. And until we meet again, I wish everyone health, everything that your heart desires. And of course, because I live in Hawaii, and the tropical storm did pass through, so I'm feeling a little better. I thought I had broken my arm, actually. That's how bad the chronic pain was whenever a storm passes or is going to pass. I'm in terrible pain, but I'm feeling much better now. And yeah, we kind of dodged a bullet, because we live in, Hawaii is in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and we don't get as many storms as they do in the Caribbean, and other places. But we've had a few that have been very dangerous, and I've been here for at least one of them, and in 1983. But I wanted to just wish you, as always, as we do here, aloha, which means love, which means hello, and goodbye. Until we meet again.